Oh, it's backwards. How can I do that? How can I fix it? Hi, Marianne. I don't know if I can. I can't get the. Cannot get the. Hi, Lynn. Oh, and Dave. My goodness, Dave. I can't believe you're on there. I hope everything's all right down in Florida for you, Dave. I know I have to flip, Chris, but I don't know how to flip it. Yeah, I don't know how to flip it. Hi, Frank. Hi, Donna. This is, yeah, it's gonna be backwards. I don't know if I can. I don't hear Chris. We're still a couple minutes early though, so we'll be starting in a little bit. Hi, May. He'll be coming on soon. Yeah, everything's flipped. Let me see if there's a way to do this. Okay. Chris, he said he was running late. I think this is running a little near. My head seems really big. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. No thumbs up. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Lovey. Oh, there he goes. Yeah. You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Maggie. Can you hear me? Hey, Manx. We're going to have a delay, of course. Loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear, Maggie. Can you hear me?
Are you going to talk, Love?
Hey, Maggie. Are you able to use your phone and flip it around? All your words are backwards. Hey, Manx.
Chris, can you talk?
Loud and clear.
Is it plugged
Yes, I will in a little bit. Yes, there's a bit of a delay.
If you haven't figured it out yet, Chris is not here in Pennsylvania right now.
All right, Maggie, we'll be starting in just a couple minutes here.
Yeah, Louisiana. And he's getting himself all sorted. That's pretty funny. I don't know what he's doing. But I am here in Pennsylvania, so we're doing the split screen thing for the first time. And then this, I don't have the tripod, obviously. He has a tripod. Oh, hi, Eddie. Oh my gosh. It's like a blast from the Zonian past. There's Eddie and Dave Rivera. Dave Rivera, I don't know if you saw him. Oh, you can hear us both. Oh, good. Well, I can't hear Chris, so. Can you talk, Chris? Because I can't. I need to see if you're. Chris isn't MBA.
Hey, Maggie, I'm going to have to mute you, though.
Marianne. He's in his C4 shirt, which his is not flipped, whereas mine is. I have my C4 shirt on, too, but mine is flipped. I don't know how to unflip it. It's because I think because I joined. Chris, I can't hear anything you're saying. If you can talk, please. He's not hearing me. Chris?
I'm talking right now,
Chris,
and I can hear it loud and clear.
I can't hear you.
I can hear it.
I can't hear you. Let me see if
I'm talking right now, and I can hear it
I
loud.
can hear you. Okay.
I can hear it.
Okay. I can't hear you. Okay, I can hear you on my phone now. Not on my iPad. Okay.
I can hear it.
Okay, I can hear you on my phone now. Not on my iPad.
I can hear it.
This is
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I can't hear you.
5, 4, 3. All right. We definitely
It's
got
delayed.
a thumbs up there, Maggie. I can be heard loud and clear. I'm going to start in about 1 minute. 4, 5, 5, 4. Then it's audio on your end, Maggie. Thumbs up there, Maggie. I can be heard loud and clear. Again, I'm not able to hear you because I can't have something on at the same time while I'm talking. Then it's audio on your end, Maggie. So I'm able to see the comments coming up. I had a thumbs up. Maggie, you can go ahead and just comment via the chat function. All right. Maggie, you can go ahead and just. All right. Let's see how we go in here. Comment via the chat function. All right. I'm going to give Maggie just another minute, see if she can get her audio working. This is so different doing it without Maggie, and actually, it's not nearly as enjoyable
I
not
don't know
having
what I'm supposed to be doing,
Maggie
Chris.
right here with me.
You can hear me,
So
right?
as Maggie continues to work the audio portion on her end, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So here we go. Good evening. I'm Chris Lukasevich, candidate for Carbon County Commissioner, and you're joining me virtually from afar for Carbon Matters live streaming. Carbon Matters live streaming is the live streaming version of my blog on c4commissioner.org on that website. Right now I have Maggie. She's in a split screen. She's working on her audio, but I still hope that she's going to be able to go ahead and chime in here throughout the evening using either the chat function or what best works for her there at the house. So again, this is Carbon Matters live streaming. Chris Lukasevich, candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. We are, as always, sponsored by Ruiz Coffee USA, the official sponsor of C4, Chris for Carbon County Commissioner. So what's the purpose of Carbon Matters? For those of you who might be joining us for the first time, well, it's really threefold. It's about having a conversation on the issues that are most important to you. And I did have a few emails over the past couple weeks in regards to matters that are important to you, and we've been having some conversations back and forth on Facebook publicly and also in PM private messaging. So that's first, have that conversation. What we're trying to do, number two, is increase voter awareness. Understand the issues better so that we can be informed voters when we go to the voting booth on 5 November, because we want to select the candidates that are best for you, your family, and your community. So bringing it all together, Carbon Matters, having a conversation, better informed voters, and allowing me the opportunity to share some of my beliefs and values with you. I want to thank Mary Ann, Maggie, Armin, Liz, and Andy, who were so helpful over the past weekend as they participated in the Redneck Festival and had the C4 pop-up down there. And for those of you who passed by also, thank you so much for doing so. All right, Maggie. Maggie, I can't hear you because I don't have anything in my ear. And again, so I'll work on that for next time. But I can see you perfectly clear. So if someone has a comment, you're, of course, able to go ahead and... Maggie, let's give it one more shot. Go ahead. I'm going to turn my volume up and then go ahead and say something, Maggie. Maggie, let's give it one more shot. Go ahead.
I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to talk. Can you hear me? I'm talking right now, love. Chris.
Wow, the best laid plans of mice and men. So it looks like almost, although I'll have Maggie on video, I'm not going to have her on audio. And I thought that might be a problem. So let's go ahead and drive ahead. So as I was saying, the Redneck Festival, thank you so much for all who interacted with Mary Ann, Maggie, Armin, Liz, and Andy during the festival. I had great feedback from that, and those of you who I reached out to afterwards, thank you for providing information so that I could make a call to you. Recently, we did put online, there was a high demand for C4 t-shirts, so we have opened up the opportunity for C4 t-shirts. So if you give me or a call or either text me at 570-503-6780, I can go ahead and arrange for our next tranche or next order of t-shirts. We're going to be placing that order on or about 10 September. So I'll need to have a text for individuals who are interested in making a small $15 donation in order to have t-shirts. So what I want to do is go ahead and jump right into it this evening. And I'm going to take us back about 2 weeks. And first and foremost, what I saw in about 2 weeks ago, all right, so we're having problems on that one, was Molly and I had an opportunity to attend the Ukrainian festival out in the Ukrainian homestead. Fantastic event, a little warm out there. Molly and I got out there for about an hour and a half. Molly, of course, loved music, the dancing that was taking place, and then the opportunity really just to have some freedom of movement out there, walking around and enjoying the people who were taking part in that festival. So I want to go ahead, a big shout out to the Ukrainian homestead folks and the festival that took place 2 weeks ago. Fantastic event out there. Hi, Bill. Thank you for tuning in. I also see we have Eddie's up there. We have May Cox, Mary Ann, Jessica, et cetera, et cetera. We talked 2 weeks ago about Miss Kraft, Angela Kraft up in Panther Valley, who started back in 2018 trying to get the school board or the school to provide money to paint Panther Valley School, the hallways. She started her own fundraising event, raised a couple $100, and actually just this past week got the job done. So there was a follow-up article because first and foremost it was parents getting the okay to paint the school hallways. We had a conversation here, and then we just see that it did come out in the Times News that the volunteers spent an entire 2.5 days, Friday through Sunday, actually painting the majority of the hallways in the Panther Valley School District. So for all those parents, teachers, staff, school board members who participated in that event, kudos to you for that. So again, I think though it's a shame that parents have to go raise money to paint a school. We all know that running around doing a little bit of work out of the area. This is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight in Carbon Matters live streaming. I know Mary Ann, who's tuned in here tonight, had some conversations with Republican Representative Frank Ryan, who has proposed a school property tax donation bill. Which looked at personal, how was make the tax into a pit and not so pension. There was a plan, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that would have taxed ways. This Bill 7 is definitely the best option. It's just all about with individuals who have pensions. Resident. I understand I'm breaking up, freezing a little bit. I'm assuming that the internet service down here the sound. I'm and here I'll give it a few seconds, see if it catches back up. And jump right back into it. I'm trying to work directly with my HT. It's actually better than well, population. To the I saw another hospital or doctor office spaces being built. Department stores. All we have is Walmart. And he's a boss. Well, there's no doubt we are limited in Carbon County in regards to options we have. But I can't agree with the point that we don't need hospital in Carbon County. Go ahead. All right, so here we go, trying to pick up. I dropped off of that network completely. Might be a little pixelated, but I'm hoping at least the audio comes through there. So again, I was just talking about what we really need. There was a letter to the editor in the Times News saying we really don't need that LVHN hospital, but rather we need more retail stores. And again, no doubt we lack retail opportunities in the Lehigh Valley, but I'll never say we don't need the Lehigh Valley hospital networks, further investment into Carbon County. That's critical also to our quality of life and ensuring that our senior citizens and others have medical services in close proximity to their homes. So I see Joey has joined us. Missy, May, thanks for that. Sounding a little bit better. That's AT&T versus the hotel service provider. I did see that the Drug and Alcohol Commission that is in Lehigh, so that's Carbon, Monroe, Pike. So those three counties which work together, they did they did renovate a new facility down in Lehigh. So drug and alcohol rehabilitation of Carbon, Monroe, Pike has moved, but just down the street from where they're previously at. And I did see that in the last commissioners' meetings, not this Thursday's, but the previous Thursday, the county commissioners, on recommendation of the prison board, did approve a contract for counseling services, drug and alcohol rehabilitation for the Carbon County prison. So clearly a necessity for those individuals who are incarcerated and have drug and alcohol problems, helps prepare them for the warm handoff transition as they attempt to integrate back into society. This past weekend, we did have a Flagstaff road closure that impacted many, many people. I know, fortunately, the Mansion House was open through the entire weekend, so that alleviated the pressure that would have been on most citizens having to transit up over Flagstaff, or would not have been able to because of the work of Mahoning Township. Can anyone give me an update on how that road work ended up panning out on Mahoning Township? Has anyone been back up on the Flagstaff since its closure? So again, I'm asking if anyone might provide, just type something in real quick, a comment or two in regards to the work that was done on Flagstaff on the Mahoning Township side. So I was glad to see they did the work. I was glad to see the Mansion House was open during that entire time. Still closed? Would that be, are you talking about Flagstaff is still closed, Maggie? Wow. Because it was supposed to be just 3 days of work, if I recall correctly. And then that's pushing everyone up over the Morey Road. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasiewicz, candidate for Carbon County Commissioner, and I am remote at this time. And unfortunately, I'm not blessed with the presence of my wife and co-host Maggie. It makes it so much more difficult and challenging. Wow, Flagstaff still closed. Can't believe that. Well, the best laid plans of mice and men again. Third time we use that today. But isn't that the reality? We just have so many problems I see getting it right the first time when it comes to those types of projects in Carbon County. Doesn't fare well, really, for the Mansion House project it's done in the timeline to get that done. Bowmanstown. Now it's about 97 degrees where I'm at this very moment, but it was good to see that our friend Mayor Zach over in Bowmanstown just adopted a new snow ordinance. So while it's still just rolling into autumn for us, and where I'm at, it's clearly still summer. In Bowmanstown, it was interesting because normally you would almost automatically get a $5 fine, and that went immediately to the magistrate. The change has been The fine has gone up to $25, but that fine is actually imposed directly by the mayor on the citizens for failure to clear an appropriate pathway and a few other variations to the fine if that's not done within 24 hours. So like impeding access to a fire hydrant, you cover it up with all your snow. I find, and we spoke about this a while ago because Lehighton was working the ordinance modification also, but if I recall correctly, they ended up nullifying any changes to that. As I mentioned previously, it's about quality of life, allowing seniors to age in place longer. Most dangerous for senior citizens is probably the possibility of a fall. If those pavements aren't level, in good condition, cleared of snow and ice during the winter months, we're putting them at great risk. And again, I'm totally committed to ensuring that seniors can age in place as long as possible. And we're all getting there sooner or later, so we all have a vested interest in ensuring that when we do have ordinances, that they are enforced and they help improve the quality of life for everyone involved. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. This is, of course, Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm pretty much on my own tonight because I have a significant geographical spatial distance between myself and Maggie right now as I'm out here doing a little bit of work, but a beautiful evening down here where I'm at. We did also talk a lot about multiple communities, Weatherly, Penn Forest Township to name two, that were eliminating their recycling programs. Interesting, Nesquehoning just inked a new recycling contract. And as I was reading about the contract that they made about recycling, Councilman George Sabal said, "I'm not in big favor of recycling." Didn't really clarify what his opposition to recycling was. But at the same time, the leadership in Tamaqua Transfer, who was present during that discussion, told the Nesquehoning Borough Council, recycling is a loser right now and in the foreseeable future. And we had that discussion here also when I talked about the county solid waste management plan, when I attended the briefing on that. And the consultant who was hired said, absolutely, that's the truth. From a wanting to make money perspective for recyclers, those who use that product, there's no money in it in plastics or paper. The only place where you can make money right now in the recycling business is in corrugated like cardboard. And they call that the Amazon effect. So those types of recyclables are the only area in which currently recycling is paying. Well, again, if you're just joining me, it's Chris Lukasevich. This is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm here in a remote, undisclosed location on my own without my right-hand girl, Maggie, and co-host to help me out. So bear with me, and I'll keep my eye. If there's any comments, please feel free to make them. Again, we're discussing the issues of the last 2 weeks that matter most to you. I am going to talk a little bit about a couple other matters that came up in the commissioners meeting of what would have been now last week. Oh, wind turbines continue to stay in the news in Carbon County. Obviously, I think we're seeing more writing now on the Packer Township, the proposal by Broad Mountain Power. They did file a legal challenge to an ordinance modification or amendment that the Zoning Hearing Board was attempting to make. And while not present at that meeting, I do recall the feedback after that particular borough or municipality township session was that the supervisors up there were advised it probably wasn't a good time for the amendment, and what they were proposing would likely face a legal challenge. And again, no surprise, Broad Mountain, aka Algonquin, aka Liberty Power, did indeed file a challenge to that amended ordinance. If I'm correct, and Craig, you can correct me if I'm incorrect, the next zoning hearing board meeting on the Packer Township Broad Mountain Power wind turbine project is 16 September up in Weatherly. And I'm going to try to get back up to the area to attend that meeting at the earliest time after Molly gets down for the night. So we need to keep on top and continue to track the wind turbine issue in Carbon County. Bear in mind, for those of you who probably don't follow the Northern Tier that much, there also is a hydroelectric project that is in the very, very early stages up there. And the folks in Packer Township are probably just as concerned with that project, although that's not what we refer to as the 25-meter target. That's probably the 150, 200-meter target. But again, if you have concerns with these types of projects, you really need to step on top of it early, or be on top of it early, or the companies or the investors are really picking up the momentum, and it's tough to stop it once it starts going. So I advise, if you're interested or concerned about the hydro project being proposed for up in the Packer Township area, you should stay on top of that particular issue. So this is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasiewicz, candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. We're sponsored by Ruiz Coffee USA. Now I'll tell you, it's about 90, now it's dropped down to about 95 here, so I am not drinking Ruiz coffee tonight. I actually simply have water, trying to stay hydrated. Well, it was great to see that the DNL bridge did open. Maggie and I did have the opportunity on, hi Eamon, thanks for tuning in. Maggie and I did have a chance to ride our bikes down to Weisport the first day opening, actually about 5:30 in the evening. We headed down to Weisport and then rode our bikes back up. So I was glad to see that the bridge was completed and that they had another celebration of its opening just recently in the last 2 weeks. So it's open. We re-celebrated that opening. So good on all those involved with that project. I like it. Maybe not the cost of it, but I think it's going to be a significant factor in assisting Weisport to move to the next level, and Lehighton. And I have no doubt it's going to bring even more tourists, for those so inclined to enjoy the economic boost this area gets from those tourists. It's going to bring more of those to and through Jim Thorpe also, and hopefully they'll continue to move up the line. Speaking of the DNL Trail, unfortunately it was quickly noticed, although after the fact, that there is a significant drop-off. Right when you come off the bridge and you're heading down, you'll have the Jim Thorpe sewer plant to your left, you'll have the river to your right. There's a rather significant drop-off to the right. And I, myself, on the way back up from Weisport, had to go into the no biking lane in order to get by a multitude of people who were crowded on the pathway. Now, they were primarily elected officials, but again, it is a pretty steep drop. They measured it on an angle. Blue Ridge Cable did 2 pieces on it. It's about 14.5 feet, not vertical, but as measured from the top on a very steep angle down to the base. Not something you would want to fall off of. Be careful with the kids, or the young kids, or those who aren't that stable on bike heading down that way. Greg and Ryan, thank you so much for joining me on Carbon Matters live streaming here tonight. We're just talking about the DNL Trail and some of the safety concerns that still exist with that. So we can expect probably, what, a year or two down the line until the grant money is secured, till a contract or request for proposals is put out, bids come in, select it, work starts, what, a year or two? As I said, I think it was Kevin Hittner from Jim Thorpe. He is up there on about the 300 or 400 block right there beside the Dillies, down from Dirk and Susie Pomper right beside them. Kevin Hittner, who's no longer in the Jim Thorpe area, but I had a chance to message back and forth or post back and forth to him, and it seems like it's kind of the world rebalancing itself. We eliminated the threat of falls up at Glenanoco Falls, so the world had to balance that out by creating a hazard or allowing man to create a hazard of falls right there in Jim Thorpe by the sewer plant. So I want to talk about one of the letters to the editors. Hi, Nicholas. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicholas. Those who interacted with you down at the Redneck Festival, specifically Maggie and Marianne, spoke so highly of the conversation and discussions they had with you. So thanks again for stopping by. The drop is not an issue. It's only an issue, Eamon, if you can't control your bike and you go over the edge. Don't feel sorry that I'm going there. I do believe it is an issue. Bigger drops on a lot of places on any gorge spot. Yeah, go through some trees, no doubt. Going up towards past Penn Haven Junction and stuff like that. Yeah, I hate to make the prediction though. You are going to see some falls occur there, unfortunately. It's just the reality. Again, people should be responsible enough and understand their left and right limits. But the fact is, people do crazy things. Parents aren't watching the young bike riders, young kids. Tough to control it. Unfortunately, I think we're going to see a problem. You can disagree all night long, and that's fine, Eamon. Again, that's a position I hold. Something needs to be done about it. All right, hey, I did want to talk about Ski's letter to the editor, or comment that he put in. I think I may have mentioned it. It came out probably just after last Carbon Matters. But Ski from Summit Hill, he's a veteran, if I recall, a Navy veteran up there. He might even be in the leadership of one of the veterans organizations, the Navy-centric veterans organizations, if I recall. But Ski said, he called it "Country is in Trouble." And I just, all the way, Craig, should have guardrails all the way down? Yeah, definitely needs something. But I agree, Eamon, you can't fix stupid, and no doubt, you know. All we can do is try to mitigate that risk. So as I was saying, Ski's letter to the editor, "Country is in Trouble," I liked what he said. I'm going to quote him. Ski said, "We need people who work for the country, not the party. We need parties who work for the people, not themselves." And one of my little taglines that I use, and I'm passionate about it and a passionate believer in it, right? It has to be people above politics, people before party, people first and foremost. When you're an elected official or you work for county government, it's all about providing services in an effective and efficient manner to the taxpayers and the residents. He goes on to say, I like this, you know, what law says independents can't be our president? And what law says independents, non-affiliated, can't be in any elected official? Well, no law says that. It's just we're stuck in this two-party system, and we have significant talent that isn't being tapped because, at least in the local area, we tend not to give due consideration, and they may not even run independents, non-affiliates. We had a libertarian run against Heffley and McKeesha last time I recall, who he has recently moved down into the Lehigh Valley. But again, we don't have many of them. And again, I think we're losing a lot of talent. But Ski went on to say, where is the law that states high offices can't be held by the best people instead of the party in charge? The party, or these parties, have to grow up. Hats off to you, Ski. I completely agree. It's not about the party. It's not about ideology. It needs to be about the people and ensuring that they have a high quality of life. So a couple things came up in the county commissioners meeting a week ago today. I think two most notable would be the new VA director of Veterans Affairs for Carbon County was selected. So congratulations. Christine will be training over the next month or two, till December, the very beginning of December, with Mr. DeRozier, and then they'll do the handoff. So we have the third largest veteran population by percentage in Pennsylvania, about 5,400 right now, plus or minus a few there based on census data. So considerable population with many needs that need to be addressed by a highly competent individual. And our veterans deserve the very best when it comes to advocates for services and for the benefits or entitlements they have earned. The second significant event or vote that took place was the decision by the commissioners to go ahead and purchase 15 kiosks for both the county parking lot and the metered areas along Susquehanna, and then right across from the annex and the post office right there on 209. So they're going to be putting kiosks in the near future. Commissioner O'Gorick primarily spoke to it, but the comptroller, Bob Crampsey, had some really good questions. One, where they can, I think probably the most significant one was, where they going to continue the fee per day parking instead of hourly. That seems to have been the track the commissioners were going on. However, after Bob raised the question, I think a light went on in a couple minds there. I think Wayne was absent during that meeting and understood that the county could have more revenue if they did hourly parking. So again, that needs to be looked at. And I suspect it'll probably fall upon the next Board of Commissioners, and they won't make, this current Board of Commissioners, any decisions in haste that the next group of three will have to contend with. So that was the commissioners meeting from a week ago Thursday. If you're just joining us as we're winding down to about our last 10 minutes, this is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz. I'm discussing the issues that matter most based upon what I've read in the news, the meetings I've participated in, what's been on social media, and the conversations that I've had with many of you. The parking garage be built. Parking garage in that lot. So, Eamon, my first question would be, do we need a parking garage in that lot for the tourists? We know during the week there are well over 100 open spots every single day. So county government doesn't need a parking garage. Now you can say Jim Thorpe needs a parking garage. That's another issue. I don't believe that county government should be building a parking lot with taxpayer money for tourism in Jim Thorpe. I don't think, now there are grants available for that. You could possibly say, why not turn over 2 or 3 acres of that parking lot to the borough of Jim Thorpe? And if they want to build it, let them build it. I don't think county government should be involved in building a parking lot for tourists. That's not their role. The government that does best is the one that governs least, right? And it is not involved in those things that can best be done by private enterprise. Let's tear down Monk Fur Company. Let a private company buy it, build a parking lot up there. Now, they did say, though, Eamon, that at least the county commissioners didn't want a parking garage there because they thought that would block the view of the river. So that was them. But in regards to that parking lot, the commissioners also said that they wanted to run a shuttle service in that parking lot. Disagree with that. So they want to run a shuttle service during heavy tourist weekends. Again, it's not the role of county government to provide a shuttle for tourists. Now, if the Jim Thorpe Tourism Agency or the merchants want to provide a shuttle service, that's fine. If you want to use a grant from the hotel tax money that comes back, fine. But again, I don't believe county should be providing a shuttle on weekends for tourists. It's not their job, it's not their role, it's not their responsibility. All right, so that's me on my high horse in regards to that. I do want to address also here in a minute before we close up and I finish up. I do want to talk about a last minute text or message that came in from Leslie Moyer up in Weatherly. She is actually, her family's up in along Quakeake, all up in the Packer Township area. And she asked, yes, Maggie, soapbox. So, yes, I'm off my soapbox in regards to county government involvement in matters which are best handled by private enterprise, entrepreneurs, capitalists. So Leslie Moyer message right at the very end of Carbon Matters. She wanted to know, and Craig, I'm glad you're here, she wanted to know of my relationship with Mr. Jimmy Dulce from up in Packer Township. Immediately after closing down Carbon Matters that evening, I did have a call with her for about 30-35 minutes, but I also wanted to address it publicly. You know, Jimmy Dulce runs Hazelton Electric and also is a bulk water supplier who's based out of the Packer Township area. Mr. Dulce and I, we first met in March. He knew I was a strong opposer of wind turbines and also that I was running against Tommy Gerhardt. So Mr. Jimmy Dulce was made aware of my position and my running through a third party, never told to me who that individual was. Mr. Jimmy Dulce reached out to me and we had a conversation on wind turbines. At the time, I had no idea that he had a vested interest in that project. I did know Kovach, and then starting to do the research, I saw there are 3 entities involved with Liberty Power. But what Jimmy provided me, and again, I guess he saw me as an ally because we had a common enemy. He has a distaste for Tommy and Sue Gerhardt, and that's his, you know, personal issue with them. That's between him and them. But he knew that we had some common ground in regards to the turbines. Jimmy Dulce, and I think the people of Packer Township must understand this, and Weatherly, and those who are concerned about wind turbines. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason the 2008 ordinance came to light is because Jimmy Dulce provided me a copy of that ordinance. And I immediately placed that 2008 wind turbine ordinance, which basically gave carte blanche, rolled out the welcome mat for turbines, the turbines that the folks in Packer Township are fighting today. The reason that copy of that ordinance was put out on social media and hit a very, very large audience was because I was provided a copy of it from Jimmy Dulce. So I want to thank Jimmy Dulce for recognizing that I had an interest in helping the people of Packer Township, and he provided me a copy of that ordinance. So I'm forever grateful for that. Again, I understand you love him or you hate him. That's up to you. Jimmy and I have talked a couple other times. He was concerned with the bridge in Packer Township, and I think he was rightly concerned. A bridge that was 3 tons and all of a sudden went up to 10 ton. That is an issue. I'd like to know how a bridge that was rated in poor condition has now jumped to relatively good condition because it's allowed to have 10 tons. 2 other times that Jimmy Dulce and I interacted, I got word that there was a problem up at the prison with water. Received a call from Mr. Dulce informing me, rightly so, that he had bulk water that he could provide to the prison. Yet the county went outside to get that water. Now, Mr. Dulce's bulk water is just, what, a handful of miles down there, you know? And I do believe he was correct in saying that a commissioner knew of the bulk water supplier right here in Carbon County, but didn't let the other commissioners know. And therefore, that initial contract for that water went outside of Carbon County to a bulk water supplier. And then, interesting enough, about 2 months or so ago, we had a big issue up at the animal shelter. Maybe about 6 weeks now, right? Water was a problem. Tom Connors actually contacted me, or I think we met after a zoning hearing board meeting, and he mentioned to me there was a water problem. The animals up there did not have fresh water from the cells, from the wells, and therefore people were donating water. I actually reached out to Jimmy Dulce and asked him about the feasibility of providing bulk water. Now, I think at the same time, the county was starting to understand what an important issue this was to animal and specifically dog lovers, and then reached out to Jimmy Dulce. And if I recall correctly, Mr. Dulce is still providing the bulk water for the animal shelter up there. So really, that's my relationship with Jimmy Dulce. What do I think about his art project? I don't like it, but you know, again, that's Jimmy, Mr. Jimmy Dulce expressing himself. I wouldn't do it, but again, it's not me to decide how others should carry or conduct themselves. And I will tell you, I've never taken $1 from Mr. Jimmy Dulce for my campaign. Someone says, he must be on the take from Jimmy Dulce. Check my finances down at 76 Susquehanna Street. And I'm more than happy if you call me, I can even make them available to you. Yeah, Jimmy Dulce's never contributed to my campaign other than providing me that 2008 ordinance. And I'll be forever grateful for getting a copy of that ordinance. So that's my relationship with Jimmy Dulce. And each individual has to decide for himself if you love him or you hate him. All right. Let me see. They're already running a lot. Maybe leasing it. Yeah, no. Got it, Eamon. Right. There is always that opportunity to go ahead and lease a parcel. Again, there is that space. Eamon, I'm going to tell you, I believe J.T. Borough should control all parking in the borough of Jim Thorpe. I prefer to create a municipal parking entity, and therefore Jim Thorpe takes all the meters, all the kiosks, and they simply give a certain percentage. It could be 60%, 80%, 90%, whatever it is, they take back. And all you do is either you could potentially give the current collector, right, borough collector, more hours or hire a second one. It'll more than cover it. Again, though, I don't believe the county should be in the business of even managing a parking lot, except for what is specifically needed for the business of the county. And it could be run pretty much the same way, just turn it all over to the borough of Jim Thorpe. All right, so Leslie, let me just hit on Leslie Moyer's question one more time. Leslie, what I would say, if you really want to understand the relationship between Mr. Dulce and the Gerhardts, give Jimmy Dulce a call. I apologize, I don't have his number available, but again, I think there's two sides to every story. Give Mr. Dulce a call when you have an opportunity. Or if you want to talk further, or anyone out there, because this is Chris Lukasiewicz, and I'm always available at 570-503-6780, 570-503-6780. And this has been Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasiewicz, candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. I can't wait to be back in Jim Thorpe and having Maggie seated there to my right, my co-host, my wife, love of my life, Maggie. Look forward to seeing you really soon. Martin, thank you for joining us a little bit late. I'm getting ready to sign off the air here for Carbon Matters live streaming. I'll go through all the comments, and I know there was a couple PMs, private messaging coming in during the same time, and a couple texts that came in. I saw them pop up on my computer screen here, or my iPad screen. Now I'll look at those a little bit later once I settle back in. So again, Thank you all for joining me. Again, I hope you're a little bit better informed than when you first tuned in. I hope you have a better sense of my beliefs. And gosh darn it, I need Maggie here because there was one item that I was to mention that I didn't. For the last 3 sessions, I gave 2 specific day 1 motions that I have proposed on my vision statement. And I wanted to hit on 2 more of those tonight. And they're pretty simple, if I recall, right? I want to see agendas for every public meeting. So that's county commissioners, salary, retirement, prison board, planning commission, election board. I want to see those agendas published at least 24 hours prior, placed on the web, and available for citizens. So instead of walking into the commissioners at 10:25 and seeing the agenda and not having time to prepare questions, we all have at least 24 hours to prepare for the public comment section. That's number 7 on my day 1 motions. Number 8, live streaming. Notice today, Chris Lukasevich was not at the Carbon County Commissioners meeting today. So we have no idea what really occurred during that meeting. There was no live streaming. County government needs to be live streaming every public meeting. Again, be it the commissioners, salary, retirement, election, planning commission, prison board meeting. They all need to be live streamed so we have another opportunity to interact and have more situational awareness of what's occurring and what actions or inactions in regards to our commissioners or elected officials or our different equities or interests that we have in county government. All right, so again, this was Carbon Matters. Apologize for kind of the fake there, or what we call a psych move, getting ready to sign off and then had to go back and address day 1 motions proposed number 7 and number 8. Thank you for joining me. Look forward to seeing you back in Carbon County real soon. Greg, concur. Transparency, accountability. They're critical factors we have to have. Have a great evening.